Thanks.
It can sometimes help too if you have low bandwidth to turn off your camera, because that takes up a lot of your.
Okay, if that's the case, I will then.
Yeah, then you just lose the visual and you just have the auditory piece.
Perfect. All right, so
well, we'll see how it can, how this will
we
work.
are streaming, so we can start. Ready? All right, let's call this meeting to order at 9:04.
Okay, if that's the case, I will
And so everybody has the meeting minutes with them. All right, so the first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. So item 2.1, adoption of the agenda for February 25th for the CBT, CIP, AAP Adjudication Committee. The staff recommendation that the committee adopts the agenda for the February 25th meeting. Do we have someone who wants to move that motion?
Hello.
Seconder?
Second.
And the motion, are there any discussions, questions, or comments? No? All right, all in favor? And the motion moves. Item number 3, adoption of the previous minutes. 3.1, adoption of the minutes from February 4th. CBT, CIP, AAP Adjudication Committee meeting, which is on page 3 to 6. The staff recommendation that the committee adopts minutes from the February 4th committee meeting. Do we have someone who wants to move that motion?
I can move.
Seconder?
Second.
And discussion, questions or comments? All right, all in favor? All right, and the motion moves. For item number 4, correspondence for action, looks like nil. Unfinished business number 5, nil. No new business. And then item 6.1, distribute binders with 2021 CBT, CIP, AAP applications, questions to applicant forms, evaluation forms, and other necessary information, and review the contents. Information distributed, no action required.
So we'll just jump in there and just make sure everybody's binders are complete and answer any questions, and then make sure everything's ready for you guys to deliberate on them. So if everyone has their binder.
Yes.
So first, you should see an application summary. We got $174,270 in applications. We do have $250,000 to earn a little more to give out. This does not mean we approve every single application. We do need to look at them, make sure they have community benefits, make sure that they meet all requirements, essentially that they're a good project for the community. So yeah, so let's go on to the next one. It should be committee questions. I put this in here because every year at the public meeting, we usually have a chance for the committee to ask questions of the applicants to be answered during the meeting. We are not going to be able to do that this year, but you guys may still have questions about the applications. So I put it in so that you could review the applications, come up with any questions you want me to email to them, and I can email you their responses so that you still get your questions answered. It just won't be in a public format. So yeah, if you could compile them so that you're not sending me all them separately into one and send it to me by the 4th, I will send it off and hopefully get all your questions answered before the next meeting. Any questions about that?
There's
Should
no
we-
limit. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Beth.
There's no limit to the number of questions we can ask, is there?
No, we try and limit it to like 1 or 2. Some of the applications you may have none, some you may have 4. That's fine. But maybe just try and make sure that if there's repetitive ones, just kind of collaborate with each other and put it together into one document, and then it just makes it easier for me to send off to each one of them.
Okay, so we should compile our own questions first and then deliberate with each other when we get a chance.
Yeah,
to
you can
come
do it that
together.
way, or through maybe send them together and, you know, just take off any repeated ones and then put together one document. Usually I ask that everyone just send them to you, Meg, the chair, and then you can send them to me.
That was going to be my question. Who's compiling them?
If
Perfect.
that works for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Would it be possible in the context of this meeting to be able to come up with questions that people have already thought of?
Today?
Yeah,
If you have questions that you've already thought of, I would just definitely recommend still writing them down so that they're all compiled in case they come up some over the next few days while you're reviewing. But yeah, definitely if there's questions that come up today, add them to the list.
That's good. And anyone can email me at any time and I'll just start compiling a large
If you
file.
email it to the whole group, then we already know what you've asked, so we're not all asking the same questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be helpful.
yes.
Yeah, and then yeah, we can narrow it down to a couple questions for each of them, then just gives you guys a chance to have a little more information that maybe they didn't provide.
I have a question someone might be able to answer. The Children's Activity Society, is the daycare separate from that organization?
Yes, the Children's Activity Society is a different daycare than the one that was announced recently.
Okay, and my question is, have they consulted with that particular group?
What
Um,
particular group?
The
With
daycare, not RVCS.
RVCS is running the new one, the Children's Center, and
Okay.
Valemount Children's Activity Society runs the current daycare, the one that's running right now. I think that what I know about it is that they're trying to fill spaces that they have on their waiting list. They have a lot of babies on their waiting list is what I get the gist of. So I think they're just trying to fill the spaces they have open right now, considering that at this exact moment, they're the only one operating. In the future, there may be more options once the other one gets up and running and built, but at the moment, they're the only ones operating. So they have a need they're trying to fill on their end, I guess.
Okay, and it's not filled by the daycare center that's operating presently in the community hall, or was operating in the community hall.
Their application states that they currently have, or I guess I saw their PowerPoint presentation that'll go on the public meeting already, so I do have a little more information. Their PowerPoint shows that they have 8 babies on their waiting list through summer months, 4 on their waiting list right at like that need immediate childcare. So right now they can't take any of those. If they were to divide the space, they'd be able to take all of those. I will show you, I am going to get to show you the public presentation rough draft I have right now for you guys to look at. Theirs is already on there if you want to look at that, but I would, after it's up and running, I would definitely recommend all of you going on and taking a look at it and completing that survey as well.
I just had a quick question. Some of the document applications had website links. Should we be going to those or just?
No, they're in the attachment. So we'll go over each application here right now, just in a row. So the first one is Varda. Project is Bike Park 2021 editions. And did everyone has anyone reviewed this one already? Or
I have.
are there any questions? So Meg, like you said, the links here are actually just their attachments. I have printed them all and put them at the end of the application. So you don't have
Okay.
to go to the links.
Perfect. I was worried I'd have to type out those URLs.
No, it's all printed and put in behind. So.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
About the bike park, my only comment was, oh, I wish they'd put a map in, a trail map, so we could, you know, I'm quite familiar with the bike park, but just how it's been expanding in relationship to other trails. Maybe I'll find that on the website.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is the first year I don't think they put the trail map in that they're working on. I did see that part of theirs is signage and stuff as well, so maybe they're maybe they just didn't feel they needed it.
That be something we could
Downhill.
ask for from them as one of our questions, or is that?
Yeah,
like
you could ask for that in your questions.
Okay.
They could maybe send us one by email, right?
Or add it to their
Yeah, it
public
could be-
presentation PowerPoint.
I know last year we did request from minor hockey that they break down their budget a little more clearly, and they did provide that before the meeting, which was very helpful. So if that's something you guys would want, then definitely give them a chance to provide it. Second application is the Royal Canadian Legion bar upgrades. I do have some quotes that were not included in this. They had submitted them in person past the deadline. I didn't receive them till later in the day after I already put this together. So I do have them. The quotes do match the asks in the application. So I wasn't sure whether you guys wanted them. I could send them out via email if you want to see the quotes. This is for the shelf and the fridge. So let me know and I'll send that out to you.
Krista, question.
Oh, Sherry, you're muted.
Of course I am. I need that on a t-shirt or a hat or something that says you're on mute. Just for transparency, I just want to say that I would recuse from any discussion on this application because I'm on the board of the Legion or on the executive of the Legion.
So am I. I'm on the Legion member as well.
As a member, I
But-
don't think you have to. Only members of the executive or the board have to.
Yeah.
Because we're involved in the decision-making process, but as a member of the Legion, you don't have to recuse.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
I think I would have to recuse myself as well. I put in the application. So
Okay.
I think it's a real good idea.
Are there any questions on this one from the people who can ask the question? Nope. Okay, so we'll go on to number 3, Robinson Valley Spay Neuter Society, Healthy Pets, Healthy Communities. So this is we see this one pretty regularly with the spay, neuter, and vaccination costs. We're one of the few places they can get funding, so we do allow them to continue to apply for kind of ongoing costs. Are there any questions on this one?
I know the questions last year were in the area of does this become an easy out for people who can't afford to do the vaccinations and neutering? Is this money going for everyone, or are there, I don't know how you would assess being able to afford it or not, but it does, like if it's being constantly paid, they're going to have to constantly ask, and then more people are going to see it as a free service.
I do know that they do make owners of pets. So if you were to go with them as an owner, you do have to cover, I believe, 50% of the costs.
Okay.
So they're not completely saying we'll cover it for you. You do have to cover half. And they also are using the funding for strays and rehoming strays and that kind of thing. So sometimes they will get a stray and they'll rehome it with somebody, and then they'll neuter or spay that pet under that person's name, that they picked up a stray, they rehomed it, and that person takes it and they use our spay neuter society to get that pet vaccinated and spayed or neutered. So it does kind of work together with helping residents as well as
The wild
getting strays
population.
off the street and animal population control and stuff. So any other questions on this one? And definitely that'd be a good question, Eugene, to maybe address to the Spay Neuter Society. Maybe they can give you a clearer answer.
Okay.
Application number 4 is the Children's Activity Society. We did touch on this a little bit, the infant toddler space expansion. Any further questions on this one?
I just have a question. Will the situation be that we have 2 daycares, in the future when the support society builds their daycare in their building? Or, I mean,
Yeah, there will be, in the end, yeah, there'll be 2 daycares. There's also CBCA who provides after school care. So that is another one that a repeat service. There's nothing wrong with 2 societies providing the same services as long, they work together, some of them, and some of them work separately, but
Yeah,
I think
and
we need to look at it as this is like each individual society's needs at this moment more
Yeah, and-
than what's happening.
yeah, RVCS isn't applying for funding from us, so we can't include that in consideration with this application. You
Yeah.
have to look at just this application and its merits,
Mhm.
right? Because they're completely separate organizations.
And as an organization, the Children's Society obviously has a need they wish to fill. So we need to look
Yeah.
at it as they have this need, this is how they'd like to solve it.
Yeah.
Is that something we want to fund?
Exactly.
okay.
Any other questions? No. So number 5, the Senior Citizens Housing Society for Valemount Cares Phase 2.
I have
Any
to
discussion?
I have to excuse myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there need any clarification on this one or anything like that?
My comment is that it's a very well put together application, and it looks like a very inviting design that they've got.
Good, thank you.
Okay, then number 6 would be the climbing club, climbing gym phase 1. So I know, Eugene, you had a few questions or comments.
Yeah, one of my question was, do we need to have 1 year's financials before you can apply?
And the answer is no. They are a new society, but they are incorporated. So they are eligible to apply. It is preferable if they have a year's financials, but they're also requesting startup costs, which if you look at the application guidelines is an exception on ongoing costs, that startup costs are an exception to it. So I would definitely review the guidelines as well along with this one.
I wasn't sure where it was going to be located.
That could be one of the questions.
They state they have a couple places in mind. I don't know if they've actually settled on one exact location. It will depend on, I guess, space, and it's part of, I guess, their startup. They have so this is for leasing the space once they find it, designing the space, and a business plan. Any further discussion on this one? There might be, you guys might have quite a few questions for them, I'm guessing. It is a new society. So. All right, then that is it for the binder.
Great. All right. So there's no action at this point. So all in favor? Perfect. All right. So motion is carried, and we're on to item 6.2, public input online engagement update. Verbal update of the online public engagement. No action required. Krista?
So I've been trying to figure out exactly how the online engagement is going to go, and what our new platform looks like and how we can use it, because I haven't had a chance to play with it until now. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of show you guys a very rough idea of what it's going to look like. I completed a couple of the pages, and the others I'm still waiting on some information from the applicants. So I will just share. Can we see that?
Yes.
Okay. So when I distribute the link, it'll take you to this page. Does it load here? And it kind of describes the program. There's a summary of the applications. And then at the bottom here, once I finish building the survey, there'll be a link to the survey. So, and that looks like this. So it kind of gives you a description of what to do at the beginning. And then there will be a page for each application. I have one done here. There'll be a picture at the top. See if I have one finished here. So there'll be a picture at the top, a description of their project right here, but this one isn't complete yet. I haven't got the full description from them yet. Their PowerPoint with more information on their project that you can look through. And then the voting form, which is the same as past public meetings. You rank it on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 you do not support, 5 you strongly support. And then we've given people an option to provide any additional comments. Again, this one I put together. It has just a draft picture, a small description, and their PowerPoint is here. So they give a little more information for the public. And again, the same questions at the bottom. So they'll be the same for each application. And then at the very end, there's an option to rank the projects from your most favorite to your least favorite. Make comments on if there's any projects that should not be funded, as well as providing feedback on the online engagement versus in-person presentations. I added this question just because I'm kind of interested in seeing what people think about having an online option, and if it's something we should continue annually, even if we can still have the in-person. So I think it'll reach quite a few more people. And so that's what the survey is going to look like once it's completed.
Is there a way to prove that they live in Valemont when they're doing it, or does that matter?
Unfortunately, no. Yeah, unfortunately, no. But I think most people aren't going to fill it out unless they live in Belmont. I'm gonna share this survey link on the village page, on Facebook, the website as well. I'm gonna send it to each applicant to forward to people they know, their members, that kind of thing. And then hopefully it'll be shared enough that we get a good response. I don't see many people filling out a survey on a community that they don't even live in just for fun. I think if they do, it would be a few maybe, but it's not going to take over. And then, so this will launch on March 2nd and run until the 25th. So there'll be lots of time for people to go through it, read them, learn a little bit more. Is there anything we don't like or any comments on it?
I have two comments. One is the ability of a particular group to be able to gather as many people as possible to vote for their particular project.
Well, the thing is though, on this, it is required on the survey that they view and answer questions for every project. You can't just go on and vote a 5 on one and not do the rest. And then the ranking thing at the end kind of eliminates that too, because now they have to put them in the order of the most to least favorite, which gives us a rank in the end, whether they only went on to vote for the Spay Neuter Society or not. They still have to put it in order of who they like most and who they like the least.
Okay.
How will we in the end get the information? Will it be like an electronic copy of all the comments and ratings, or will you compile it into something?
I'll compile all the comments. The ratings, the system does that for me, so you'll get an overall score. So 0 to 5, you'll get their average score, and then that'll be turned into a percentage out of 30% for the vote.
My second concern is it possible for someone to put in multiple surveys saying that they're in favor of the particular project?
Unfortunately, yes. That's the thing with online is it's hard to stop that. We can see if there's a whole bunch coming from the same IP address, but that's kind of a risk that the online kind of you have to take. Not much way around that.
Okay.
Because we do want it to be anonymous. We don't want people to have to put their names on something and then provide negative comments. Maybe they don't support an application, but they don't also want their name on them saying that they don't support an application, right? So that'd be the only way around people not being able to do it more than once.
Is there an option for people that don't have computers to get this information and do this evaluation?
I have thought about that. And I'm wondering if we can do a paper survey as well. I'm gonna have to look into that and see if we can have it at maybe pick up at the front desk or something like that. But it's a little difficult when it's an online thing because like the system compiles the vote. So then once we do the paper copy, we'd have to kind of add that in.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm aware of a larger and larger population that's not connected to the internet, that they really don't have, they have computers, but not necessarily connected to the internet.
Yeah, and that has been a concern from the beginning. Ideally, I was hoping to do the online as well as a maybe small walkthrough public engagement, but just with COVID restrictions, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the best second choice. I know last year, a few of the other CBT communities that do community initiatives weren't able to have their public meetings because by the time their application intake ended, the restrictions were too strict to have any public meetings at all. So they have used this in the past, and most of them actually said that it worked way better than they expected. There was a small complaint about not having internet and people not being able to use it. I'd be happy to walk anyone through how to use it if they want to give me a call or anything, or if somebody wants to help the seniors or anyone who doesn't have computer. I'm not really sure how to fix that problem, but yeah.
Yeah, and the multiple IP address thing too, keep in mind that, like, say for example, if myself and Clayton were doing the survey, each one of us are using the same internet in our
address.
house, it's going to be the
Yeah.
same IP address.
And you may have
So-
different preferences on projects, so.
Well, most definitely we do.
Yeah, so I know that other communities found that they got way more responses than people that come out to the public meeting. So I think that also balances it out, because I think you're going to get a broader range of people filling out the survey than who show up to the public meeting as well. Keep in mind, at a public meeting, we usually only have between 1 and 200 people show up, and probably 40% of them are the applicants and the people they bring.
Yeah.
So this may reach quite a few people who normally don't come as well. So interested to see the difference.
What happens in the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a question on the survey where a person would have to answer that they're above the age of 18 or 19?
I could add one.
We can't stop people, youth, from doing it, but at least if we put it out there that, you know, you need to be an adult to complete this survey.
I could, you know what I could do? I could add a beginning page before you get to the project that says, are you over the age of 18? I guess or no. Where do you live, with maybe a drop down of Valemount or regional district, and have them be the only two options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do like a little starter page and then go into the projects that just to like a screening.
Yeah. I mean, most people are, majority of the population are very honest. They're going to read that and be honest. And at least it would put our requirements, like we expect that you live in the area and that you're an adult before you continue.
Do we want to say over 18? Because I know that a 16-year-old will be able to say whether they think of.
Yeah, what age did we agree on last year? I don't remember.
At the public meeting, we said 15.
I don't either.
15, 16?
Yeah, I find there are some kids who are very well informed.
Yeah.
I once met a grade 10 student who outlined for me all the options for voting that were possible, the pros and cons of each system. Sherry knows who this person is, but incredibly knowledgeable in, oh my Lord, you know more than most adults do.
Yeah, there's many like youth that want to be involved in the community as well, and I don't see a reason for cutting them out. That being said, the survey will ask if they're over a certain age, but it'll still let them complete the survey.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the youth are very interested in the bike park, so they should have a vote on it, because it's so wonderful to see so many young people out there biking.
And
Yeah.
potentially the new organization, the climbing. Yeah.
Yeah, the climbing might be a big draw for the younger generation.
Yeah.
So, I could just put in an age of maybe, are you over 15, just to see.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
think 15 is reasonable.
Okay. I'll add a first page that just kind of asks a little couple of demographic questions, and then it'll go into the survey. And then at the end too, we'll be able to see how many under that age are filling it out compared to over, and gives us information for next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also by their comments might be able to indicate whether they really are serious and really have considered the possibilities. Like, that would also be very interesting to know as to is this more than just a yes because I think it's cute.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we had, you know, a computer set up somewhere that people could go and use. Like, say, if we had one in the visitor center, the village office, that people could just go in and sit down and use that computer, do the survey.
Yeah, unfortunately, the visitor center
I know.
one was taken down, but maybe could this be something we offer at the library?
Yeah,
Yeah, library, it's got several stations. It would be talking probably with Holly or one of the people, Wendy Cinnamon.
Yeah, maybe
to set that up.
I'll give Wendy a call today and just, maybe that can go in our advertising. If you don't have access to the computer, the library has offered. I'll give her a call and see if that's okay to put in. And then that gives people who don't have access an option, kind of solves that problem as well.
yeah, I think that shows we've done our best effort to make sure that it's accessible to anyone who wants to add some input.
Perfect. I will do that today. It's a good suggestion. All right, any more comments?
Krista, I'm just thinking about our Belmont Senior Citizens Housing Society. We have over 100 members. So I'm just thinking, I mean, the board will have to decide how we will, additionally inform our members, but you'll have lots of paper copies available at the office.
Like I said, I haven't decided on how that'll be able to work with paper copies, because the system compiles the votes. So then the paper copies, you have to figure out how to put in, right?
Okay.
Let me think about it. And I will, again, that'll be something I'll put in the advertising and update you guys on.
Okay, thank you.
Beth, there might be a possibility of offering help to the seniors that would like to vote in this.
Yeah.
Because like, I know my wife was trying to help somebody navigate through Zoom, and it was a real, I don't know if the other person saw what Monique was trying to point out. And it can be rather formidable if you have no knowledge whatsoever of computers. So,
yeah. So if you have a very basic knowledge of computers, this survey, this platform is very, very easy to use. It's, you'd click the link and then you click through the buttons and hit submit. It's, I really like it so far from what I've got to use of it. I find it very straightforward, very simple to navigate. So hopefully that'll solve some of the problems as well for people who maybe don't have extensive knowledge of computers, but they can click a link and follow the directions. So anyone else though, yeah, if we offer it maybe at the library, I'll check into the paper copies. If there's somebody who can help them, that would be good.
I just have a comment. If the paper copies were done, we could input that in through an online form as like verbatim. But
yeah, that could be an option as well. I could, because I ended it a day or so before the end of the week, so that if there's anything I needed to add in, I'd have the time to do that before putting the agenda together for the deliberation meeting. So yeah, that actually is a good suggestion as well.
and if you need help with that, I could help input data through the site, since it's a time thing.
I will check with, I know for the OCP, they've used this system and they did have paper copies. So I'm going to check with Megan, our planner, and see how they did that.
All right. Any more comments, questions, or discussion? Nope. All right. So
I'll just throw in, I agree to. Sorry, I was just going to say I agree to having access to a paper copy for seniors, because I just know too many seniors that won't touch even a computer or won't even have coaching, sort of like what Eugene was referring to. They're just not going to do it then. And if you want their opinion, paper's the way to go.
Yeah, I will give you guys an update. I will go, I'll check with her today and I'll check with the library, and then maybe we can cover access to computer and paper copies. And that way kind of cover all the bases we can with a non-in-person engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, I mean, this is open for a 3-week period. And in all years past, people have had
Monday.
4 to 6 hours and they had to attend in person to fill out this paper. So this is going to open up the option for people to, you know, there's nothing stopping anyone from grabbing a laptop, going and visiting a senior and helping them fill out this survey in the comfort of their own home. Whereas previously someone would have had to go and get that senior, bring them to the meeting so that they could provide their input that way. So we are giving a lot more options for public input this year, even though it's on an electronic platform.
Yeah, and I tried to design it so each applicant was still able to kind of do a presentation. So they have provided like a photo of their building or their project or what they want their project to be in the end at the top, and then their PowerPoint with all their information, as well as a write-up. So hopefully it kind of works the same as the public meeting where you read through as if it's a presentation, you know what the project is before you make your vote. So yeah, I'm just waiting on a couple more of them and then we should be ready to launch.
And then just to clarify, none of us actually do the online input, or would we only do our paper copy?
Well,
I
actually,
guess it's up to you, but if you want to see it and go through it when it's done and read, because you probably want to see the presentation as well. So
yes.
you may have to go through and do it, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I don't think, because giving your honest opinion and yeah.
It's a realization too that we do our own assessing of the different projects, and that counts as a greater percentage than public input. So on that level, we are very much the voice of what happens or doesn't happen.
And their little presentation on there may give you some information that you would like for deliberations, right? So I would actually encourage you to go on and go through it, just so then you can see their little presentation as well, just in case that they provided more information that's in the application. So then that combined with any answers to the questions and the application should give you a pretty good picture of what their project is.
Sounds good.
So
Right.
every applicant will have a video presentation, is what you're saying?
It's actually it's a PowerPoint that you can scroll through. We weren't able to upload it as a video, but you can scroll through it and read each slide.
All right. So are we moving this motion? All in favor?
What's the motion?
Public input online engagement
There's-
6.2.
There's actually no resolution on this one unless we want to change anything, but just kind of for your information.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that brings us down to item 7, council recommendations. There are none. Number 8, adjournment, 8.1 at 9:47. It was moved. Who would like to move the motion that we are adjourning this meeting? And second, that the meeting of the CBT, CIP, AAP Adjudication Committee